so one of the things I like to do on these tour hikes and guided hikes is point out a couple of things, especially biologically speaking, but also as far as the geology is concerned. So the one thing you're seeing right here is the indicator plant for Chihuahuan Desert. An indicator plant is a plant that will tell you, if you see it, what desert you're in. So the Mojave Desert, Joshua tree is their indicator plant. The Sonoran Desert, the saguaro cactus is their indicator plant. In the Chihuahuan Desert, our indicator plant's an agave. It's the lechuguilla. So it's agave lechuguilla. We have two agaves here in the park that you see a lot. We have the agave lechuguilla, and then we have agave neomexicana, which you find at a little bit higher elevation. And I don't know if we'll see any up there or not, but if we do, I'll point it out. The cool thing about the agave lechuguilla and all the agave species is they only infloresce, which is a really fancy term for flowering, once, and then they die. They have a lifespan anywhere from about 15, 19 years, so just call it on average 17 years. So all these stalks that you're seeing of the agave, those are basically 17-year-old plants. They used all their energy to infloresce, and because they used all their energy, all their stored food, all their stored sugars, the plant died afterwards. You'll also notice that when I wiggled this thing, there's no more, yeah, some more came out, but not a lot. The first time I wiggled it, a lot of seeds came out. So this was the female portion that is still got some of the seeds left up in the pods. But this particular plant died last year, and so, last year it was a 19-year-old plant. And so we're in the Chihuahuan Desert. You see agave lechuguilla, you know you're in the Chihuahuan Desert. Now you may not always see it, but if you do see it, you know exactly what desert you're in. So now, Chihuahuan Desert is also the largest desert in North America, so you're still lost if you're wandering around, but you at least know what geographic region you're in. So if somebody dropped you out of a plane with a parachute in the middle of the night blindfolded, and you woke up or came to and found the lechuguilla, you'd have an idea of, hey, I'm somewhere in Mexico or the southern United States, or the southwestern United States. There are a lot of cool things sitting right here. So the first one is, where's the other? I saw two.
There's one right there behind you.
Right there.
Ah, okay. So we have these.
Right there.
Yeah, a little one there. We have what the Seagull Claw cactus, which is more commonly referred to as Turk's Head or Horse Crippler. Its scientific name is Echinocactus horizontaloneus. So it's a really horrible name for the cactus, but it's pretty cool because the way it sits, and it has a nice flower when it blooms.
Oh, and there's another
The other thing we have here is we have this ocotillo. The ocotillo, you see it in a lot of people's yards. It makes a good living fence if you plant a lot of them together. And the ocotillo is one of those cool things. This is that fuzzy plant you see in everybody's yard. If they water it or if it rains, it gets all the small leaves that come out, and it'll photosynthesize a lot in a very short period of time and then drop the leaves if it dries out. Since if it does rain a lot, or if it's in somebody's yard and it's being watered, it can stay leafy all summer long. But out here, typically, we get a rain, the leaves come out, within a week the leaves are gone. Now the other thing about the ocotillo is that the thorns on the ocotillo are also part of that leaf complex. It's a modified part of the leaf. So, and that's one of the things you get with the cactus. So if you look at all the cactus around here, we've got three parts to any plant: root, stem, and leaf. So what you're looking at on a cactus, the green part, that's actually the stem. That's not a leaf. The leaves are the actual thorns on the cactus. It's a modified leaf. The other cool thing we have sitting right here is this Mormon's tea. The Mormon's tea is one of those things that it has a little bit of natural ephedra in each one of the green branches that you see. And it can either be really small and shrubby like this one, or if it's in a well-watered environment, it can get fairly large, 6, 8 feet diameter, maybe even 6 feet high. And the Mormon tea, the reason they called it Mormon tea, the Mormons didn't drink caffeine, but they'd make a tea by boiling this and getting the natural ephedra out of it. The ephedra is obviously a stimulant, so you get some stimulation. The other part, though, about Mormon's tea is it's also a laxative, so be careful how much you drink. We've got one of the more common shrubs or small trees right here, and you see them all over this hillside right here. This is the white thorn acacia. So the acacia is fairly common here. We've got two types in this park, the white thorn acacia and the cat claw acacia. If you see a cat claw, you'll know it immediately from a white thorn because it looks like a cat's claw. It's hooked, and when you run into them, it grabs you and rips. So it's not a fun plant to brush up against.
When you start looking, you start seeing all kinds of little babies popping up.
Alright, so the reason we're stopping here is a lot of people, well, how do you tell the difference between different cactus? Because to a lot of people, a cactus is a cactus is a cactus. But what you have to look at, believe it or not, what it helps you to tell like a maple or an oak tree from each other. You look at the bark or the shape, you look at the leaves, right? Well, the same goes for the cactus. The leaves or the needles, right? Or the thorns. So we've got one here, and then we have one here. And if you look at the thorns or the needles, they're a lot different, aren't they?
Yep.
So this one's black. This is a Big Bend prickly pear. This one is what people commonly refer to around here as beaver tail. So this is the standard Opuntia imbricata that is really common here, but Big Bend is also kind of common. But if you notice that the thorns there are reddish to black, whilst these thorns are almost white, maybe a little reddish. So you've got two different species of cactus right here. If you look at the shape, you go, okay, this one's healthier because it's bigger, but the shape of the pads, okay, cactus is a cactus is a cactus. And even the fruits, when it puts out the tuna look very similar. So this is one of those things where if you buy a guide, you always look for a guide that has a key in the front. You look for this leaf shape, this bark texture, the needle color. If it's this, go to this number. If it's not this, go to this number. And you key it out. And actually, once you learn to use those guides, identification of this stuff becomes fairly easy. The problem is finding a decent guide with a good key that you can understand. But I always say get one that has a key in the front that you can start your identification guide. And the key is not pictures. You don't try and start with the pictures. You read the description, and then if it's this, go to number 2. If it's not this, go to number 5. And that's how you key out your plants. Cylinder, right? So, if you've got cylinder or cylindrical, then you kind of know when I say Cylindropuntia imbricata. So Puntia is pertaining to cactuses, as in pokey, pointing, and then cylindro, so it's cylinder, pointy, imbricata, which is the Christmas tree cactus. Alright? Or some people call it a pencil cholla. But you can see why they call it a Christmas tree cactus. You see the fruits at the end look like little ornaments at the end of it. And if you notice, this area right here, for whatever reason, there's one, there's one, there's one. So we got a colony of Cylindropuntia imbricata sitting right up here at the top of Sunset, or Upper Sunset Trail. Now the other thing is we just passed a strawberry hedgehog right there at the edge. And I'll point out some more because that's a small one. But again, it looks similar to the rainbow cactus until you know what to look for. And that hedgehog cactus, the strawberry hedgehog cactus, has much longer needles than the rainbow cactus. And you'll see those when we get a really good example. But this is a good area to see this pencil cactus or Christmas tree cactus. Now, when you look out, you get a view of the entire valley, the mountains in southern New Mexico, northern Mexico, and the Franklins. Now, what you also notice, especially right here at the Franklins, look at the layers of these rocks over here. Everything's tilted up, right? So what you had were two plates coming together during the Laramide orogeny. Orogeny is a mountain building event, okay? So you had two plates come together, one plate subducted underneath the other and pushed up the other at the same angle. So if you subduct at 30 degrees, you're going to abduct or lift the same amount, right? So our mountains, this is the abduction range right here. This is the area that came up at that 30-degree angle. If you're a geologist or you're interested in geology, the other really cool thing is we have a rift valley. So anybody knows what a rift is? Who said it?
I did.
Okay, oh, yeah, you're cheating.
Sorry.
Alright, so a rift valley is, or a rift, are where two plates get new material. Monkey vultures doing a photo op. And we're still kicking. So when the mountains were made, the granite was exposed and the younger limestone was pushed all the way up to the top of the mountains. And that's how you get limestone on top of mountains. Because again, that used to be the sea floor, not the top of the mountain.
Size of these. Look how big these are. Those are the biggest ones I've seen.